Alex here with a high conflict child custody video on your ex's partner, their new partner, being a bad influence. And I'm going to use that phrase because that's mainly what this video is about. If you have a problem with your ex's new girlfriend or boyfriend or wife or husband, it has to be a problem that can affect a modification of child custody, or you just need to let it go. This is another thing that people complain about all the time, that their partners got with somebody new who they think is a bad influence, and there's these things that they don't like about that person. I don't know, they're lazy, they're slobbish. You know, the thing is, if you can't make if you can't modify custody over it, then there's nothing you can do about it. And you're going to look really bad if you go into court complaining about your ex's partner and it's not a serious issue that is so serious that the court needs to modify custody. So like if they're abusing your kids and it hopefully you don't use just, you know, they're mean to them, something like serious, like they're beating them or it's sexual or something bad. If it's nothing like that, you just have to let it go. I feel like what it comes down to is parents are used to controlling who their kids are around. And that's normal. Like, you're the parent of your child. And yeah, you don't want them to be around a bad influence. That makes sense. The problem is that when you break up with your ex, now it's not, your ex is not like another babysitter. They're another parent. And so they have the same right to make those judgment calls that you do. So it's no longer good enough to just be like, oh, that person's a bad influence, I don't want the kids around them. Because your parent, your ex, who's also a parent, also has the right to say, I think they're a good influence, and I do want the kids around them. And now you really don't want to make a court issue out of, our kids are hanging around people, I think they're a good influence, they think they're a bad one. I want the court to say that they can't hang around this person. Seriously, it looks bad. So your argument better be going in there and saying, my kids are being neglected or abused by this person, and here's how they're doing it. It's not about a bad influence, it's about child abuse. And if you can make that kind of issue out of it, then go right ahead. And maybe it'll go somewhere, especially if you can show that your partner is failing in their duty to protect the children from abuse and neglect. That's a whole separate thing. I'm not talking about that. I'm just hopefully the general purpose of this video is to get people to understand that their ex is also a parent and they have the right to make judgment calls on who their kids can hang around, even if you disagree. And basically what the court's going to say is, well, when they're in your custody, you get to make those calls, and when they're in theirs, they get to make those calls. You know, and that's that. And if you don't like it, too bad, because they're not a babysitter, they're the other parent. They have parental rights too. There was another thing I was thinking about when it came to this. Oh, yeah. So sometimes people will kind of impose requirements that are not entered into a court order, and it can blow up in your face. So some people will say, okay, I am going to control the situation as to who my ex thinks is a good influence in a way that I can control it. So let me give you an example. That doesn't make much sense. Okay, so here's a good example. Your ex might have a new partner, or just even a friend that the kids hang around and you don't like him. Well, the ex can't show up to an exchange. So they're going to send their wife or their husband or their girlfriend or boyfriend or their friend to drop the kids off. Or even pick the kids up. This is not an opportunity, and I've seen this happen a lot. This is not an opportunity for somebody to go, you know what, I don't actually like this person, so I'm going to require an ID. Or I'm going to require a background check. And then they say, you know, I want a background check on them, or I'm not going to let them pick the kids up. And then it ends up going to court on a contempt of court issue. And the parent that required the background check or the contempt of court or whatever, they end up totally stunned, silent, that they actually get held in contempt of court. And the problem is that you might think it's going to look like, oh, I'm just trying to be a responsible parent and require these things. But a lot of times the court will see through that and they'll be like, you know what, this is an example of this person not liking their partner's new girlfriend and wanting to get all of their personal information. And the fact of the matter is, I'm going back to the very beginning of this video, if you can't make a child custody issue out of it, if you can't make it an issue of abuse or neglect, then you just have to leave it alone. And that includes that includes throwing up hurdles or hoops for your partner's new girlfriend or boyfriend or friend to jump through whenever they have to deal with you. Yeah, it's the only other thing you could really do is file a motion and ask the court to impose these extra requirements. So like you could say, my partner has to let me know by email that they're going to send a friend or something before I have to leave the kids with them, because it's a safety issue. You don't want some random stranger coming up to you and saying, yeah, Billy said I can pick the kids up. It's reasonable for you to ask for some kind of notice from your actual ex saying, hey, I'm sending my girlfriend or boyfriend to this person to pick the kids up. It's reasonable to ask for that. But it's not reasonable to go too far and be like, I want a driver's license, I want your name, I want to do a background check. That goes too far. Unless, of course, as I was mentioning, it's a child abuse or neglect issue specifically with that person. And in that case, then it's not about trying to throw hurdles in their face or make them jump through hoops. In that case, it's you need to modify custody because your kids are in danger. That's a whole separate issue, completely disconnected from this video. I'm not talking about those cases at all. It's a video I'm surprised I've waited this long to do because it comes up so much, and hopefully it's a video that people find useful. So yeah, with that, I'm going to end this video. See you guys next time.